it's interesting. You talk about safe haven and you talk about the dollar in the same breath. So
it's like almost a paradox, isn't it?
it's almost a paradox when you put Trump in the mix. But the thing about that is that you also saying something fundamental about the United States, and you're saying the institutions of accountability, the institutions that ensure that if I have a contract with you, it gets enforced, that they will survive any kind of leader that that country might have.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're talking about leadership here, you also have to factor in, why did I just say glibly at the beginning of the conversation that the Hawks are investigating the finance minister? Well, you and I know, because we talk about it all the time, is that the new head of the Hawks, has been in the job about 9-10 months now, is a man who was found by the Pretoria High Court to have lied under oath. And so that man, as a policeman, cannot get a job anywhere else, because the first thing is going to be integrity. And so the minute he gets told off by Judge Matojane that you lied under oath, not once, not twice, but many times while you're on the stand, he gets appointed the head of the independent investigative unit in our country. So do I have faith in that institution? That institution will investigate you or me without fear or favor? That's a big problem. And so the big question mark that keeps on being raised on the independent institutions in South Africa, and they're amazing institutions. The Public Protector's Office is an amazing, amazing institution, inspirational. What the Constitutional Court judges have said and done has been amazing. But what about the Hawks? What about what's happening at the South African Revenue Services? These are institutions that need to work and not be used for political ends. And then we'd say, oh, we can survive this or that leadership. But if you look at the past few years of this administration, those institutions have been undermined. The other one is effectiveness of leadership. I mean, you mentioned Modi in India. Now, Modi came into power at exactly the same time that you gave President Zuma a second term in 2014. Right?
He's passed the buck on that one, I think. Yeah, carry on.
But what happened there, you look at GDP growth, India, that first year, just the first year, India went from about 2%, I think, GDP growth to 5.4. We were at about 2% then. Where are we today?
Yeah,
we're going there. So it's one, effectiveness, but it's also what's happening to the institutions in both countries. And you look at it's chalk and cheese. And that for me is a big issue that we're just not having that conversation. Is he going to go? No. He's not going anywhere, because power in South Africa lies with the party, not with the voter. So you don't vote for President Zuma, you vote for the ANC. You don't vote for Mmusi Maimane, you vote for the DA. Same thing with Julius Malema, you vote for the EFF, and the EFF appoints the party or the person who will become president. In the ANC, President Zuma, all the surveys might say, oh, he's lost favor and so forth, people don't want him. And in the commentariat, we sit here and say, oh, he does this, and so forth and so forth. We can talk until the cows come home. The key decision maker in the ANC is the National Executive Committee of the ANC. It's got 86 members, one of them being President Zuma. Those 86 members are the ones who make the decision about who leads, who doesn't lead in the ANC. President Zuma had 75% support in that body in December 2012. As of today, let's say, some people have said, oh no, this is not nice. He's down to about 60%. So when the Constitutional Court ruled a few months ago that he must pay back the money, it went back to the NEC National Executive Committee meeting. Gauteng said, no, maybe President should do the right thing and step down. It goes to a vote, it's 60-40, and he stays in power.
Yeah.
So long as where power lies, he's got control. I don't think President Zuma is going anywhere.
Yeah.
And so the uncertainty you talk about remains in the system because he's still in the system, And so he could attempt to do what he tried to do on December 9 last year.
Well, that's my worry, and that's my lead on to questions around policy, because, as you say, I mean, it's institutions that we worry about, and the protection of ourselves, of our family, of our assets, of everything that's under threat. But now, let's talk policy, and I'm going to come back to you now, Justice, but I want to just set up the conversation, because I want to talk about mining. Because that was always something that we could look at, and we could always trust in mining. We look at the price of commodities. I mean, you look at the price of gold. We were having a conversation that George Soros, after Brexit, said, "There you go, put your money in gold," and he made a whole bunch of money, and whatever it is. But we should be cashing in on this, and yet we're not. So I mean, talk to me about the mining sector here in South Africa.
Well, I'll go backwards a step. I mean, we talked about RAND earlier, and I talked about unit labour costs.